It's so late. Hello. It's once again a little late, but we're gonna make it. We're gonna finesse this. It's gonna work. Once a day, every day. It's not 12 o'clock yet. Hello. Good evening. Good night. Good all of the things. Good day. I hope all was well today, this Monday afternoon. No, it's definitely after afternoon. It's evening. It's late, early, close to the morning times. I I gotta figure out Monday. Monday's the trickiest day. Once I figure out Monday, everything else was just gonna fall in line, hopefully. Anyway, I am like a little chilled, so you're gonna see me shivering a bit. We'll work past that as we read through Exodus. I think we're at Exodus chapters 32 through 34. Let me double check. And then we go into Psalms 28. Yeah. That's all correct. And then the devotional video attached to the link description, it is an expression. It says the biblical authors often reference and quote their favorite parts of scripture, and the list of God's character traits found in Exodus 34, 6 through 7 is the most repeated and quoted text in the Bible. In this video, we'll explore this foundational description of God's attributes that illustrates what God values and why he acts the way he does. So yeah, I watched it. It was really actually kind of informative to watch them. They kind of broke it down, those verses, as if it was poetry. Like, I don't know if you've ever done any literary analysis on poems. But that's what it felt like when they were going in and breaking down the components of it all. Excuse me. Yes. So I like how they were able to they said it was repeated over, or requoted the text over 20 times, and that's the most any line in the Bible has been repeated. But I think it's because the Bible is specifically about teaching people the gospel of God, or so a moment where God, we'll see soon, describes himself to Moses, and then outlines what his characters are, who he is. That's a statement, that demands to be remembered and recorded and reappear throughout events as they go through, because it's not just a story, it's just these are events happening in people's lives. Okay, we start at the top of Exodus 32. Now remember that these are the people of Israel. They are not attempting, they have their mid-ceremony of becoming God's covenant people. The gold calf. When the people saw how long it was taking Moses to come back down the mountain, they gathered around Aaron. "Come on," they said. "Make us some gods who can lead us. We don't know what happened to this fellow Moses, who brought us here from the land of Egypt." So Aaron said, "Take the gold rings from the ears of your wives and sons." So Aaron said, "Take the gold rings from the ears of your wives and sons and daughters and bring them to me. All the people took the gold rings from their ears and brought them to Aaron. Then Aaron took the gold, melted it down, and molded it into the shape of a calf. When the people saw it, they exclaimed, "O Israel, these are the gods who brought you out of the land of Egypt." Just like, Aaron saw how excited the people were, so he built an altar in front of the calf. Then he announced, "Tomorrow will be a festival to the Lord." The people got up early the next morning to sacrifice burnt offerings and peace offerings. After this, they celebrated with feasting and drinking, and they indulged in pagan revelry. The Lord told Moses, "Quick, go down the mountain. Your people whom you brought from the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. How quickly they have turned away from the way I commanded them to live. They have melted down gold and made a calf, and they have bowed down and sacrificed to it. They have saying, 'These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you out of the land of Egypt.' Then the Lord said, 'I have seen how stubborn and rebellious these people are. Now leave me alone so my fierce anger can blaze against them, and I will destroy them. Then I will make you, Moses, into a great nation.'" So he's like, "All right, we're done with Israel. We're going to make a nation out of Moses. Because the nation that I made out of Abraham, that I made out of Jacob, is just not working right now. We're just going to wait." I'm laughing, but like, this line explains it. This line explains it so quickly. It's Exodus 32, verse 8. And it says, "How quickly they have turned away from the way I commanded them to live." And then, yes, it goes further to explain exactly how they turned away from what God had commanded. These are the same people who just said, "I will listen. I will do what you want me to do. I will listen. I will follow your commands. Whatever you command of us, I'll do, Lord." These are the same people who were in fear. He's like, "Listen, Moses, we'll listen to you. We'll listen to whatever you say, but make sure God doesn't speak to us directly, for otherwise we'll surely die." They feared. They reveled. They understood the force of nature that they were up against, the spiritual force that they were up against. And yeah, granted, Moses took some time up there, but like, y'all understood. Even if Moses never returned, you were still supposed to follow 10 commandments that you already knew. You already understood, like, it was already conveyed to you what to do. And then you immediately find another God and make yourself an idol of that God. You immediately make yourself an idol of God. And you say, "These are the gods." You empower that thing that was made out of the accumulation of the gold from everyone around, and said, "This is what rescued you from slavery. This is what broke your chains. This is what brought on 10 plagues. This is what did it." You immediately discredited the God who actually put in all the work for your salvation. It's like, whoa, like mid festival to consecrate yourself. Like, how quickly do you turn? It says right here, how quickly they have turned away from what I have commanded them, from how I have commanded them to live, from the way I've commanded them to live. How quickly they turn away from the way I have commanded them to live. I'm going to listen to that in the King James. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed thereunto and said, these by thy gods, O Israel. These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Like, it's like doing all of the work, being the boss of whatever, and then all of a sudden you've done all of the work. You've gotten your people to a safe place. You're preparing to celebrate gains which you've never seen before. And then like all of a sudden these people decide, nah, we're gonna take that guy over there. I'm random Joe number 3. We're gonna take him and we're gonna credit him for all of the work you just did. Because you were gone for a while, like you were gone for a couple of weeks, like so. we gave him all the credit for all of the work you just put 40 some odd years into. Yeah, we're gonna give him all the credit for that. How does it start? Like it's about to go down when it says. When the people saw how long it was taking Moses to come back down in the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and they said, come. They said, make us some gods who can lead us, as if because Moses was gone, the God who was leading them was gone. And I'm sure that cloud, that pillar of cloud and fire was right there, still there. Make us some gods who can lead us. We don't know what happened to this fellow Moses who brought us here from the land. We don't know what happened to this fellow Moses. Like, we don't know what happened to him. Like, I mean, granted, he had to keep climbing up and down these mountains, so maybe you never really do know what happened in that mountain pass, but it's just the nonchalance expressed in this. We don't know what happened to that fellow. So make us some gods. Quick, go down to the mountain. Your people you have brought from the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. And it's like he no longer calls them my people. He stops calling them my people immediately. And the Lord said unto Moses, go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. Harry, go back down, because your people whom you led out of Egypt have sinned and rejected me. That's another translation. They've sinned and rejected me. Willingly. Not only sinned en masse, like everyone participated in this sin, because everyone took their gold whatever they had, earrings, nose rings, out, and gave it to Aaron to be melted down into this statue. Now this is like, it says it very briefly, like they made this golden calf. It expresses that in a line, but like melting down gold to shape gold to do all of this, then to make an altar place for sacrifices and all that. That's some construction time. Like, that's some construction work, you know? Like, this probably happened near almost immediately for it to have been constructed and then offerings made to it. Okay, so then another translation says, I have behaved corruptly. This is the New Century Version. The Lord said to Moses, go down from the mountain, because your people, the people you brought out of the land of Egypt, have ruined themselves. You spent all of this time. You spent two days, I think. It was 2 days bathing and consecrating yourselves. Then you were observing the boundary of Mount Sinai, not going up, and yada yada. There was a 7-day feast situation. Moses was up there for about 40 days and 40 nights, so a month and a half, 6 weeks or so. But let's say the construction of this, like, typically, how long did it take to make a gold cast calf, you know? To collect all the gold and then to melt it down. Let's say that takes a month. So we'll be kind and be like, you took 2 weeks. You had 2 weeks of patience. Like, how much patience did you have? Oh man, okay, moving on. Yeah, I can see how her bad led, because then God immediately is like, no, these are stubborn people. They're stubborn and they're rebellious. Leave me so my fierce anger can blaze against them, and I will destroy them. Then I will make you, Moses, into a great nation. But Moses tried to pacify the Lord, his God. O Lord, he said, why are you so angry with your own people, whom you brought from the land of Egypt with such great power and such a strong hand? Why let the Egyptians say their God rescued them from the evil intention of slaughtering them in the... Why let the Egyptians say their God rescued them with the evil intention of slaughtering them in the mountains and wiping them from the face of the earth? Turn away from your fierce anger. Change your mind about this terrible disaster you have threatened against your people. Remember your servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You bound yourself with an oath to them, saying, I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven, and I will give them all of this land that I have promised to your descendants, and they will possess it forever. So the Lord changed his mind about the terrible disaster he had threatened to bring on his people. Then Moses turned and went down the mountain. He held in his hand the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. These tablets were God's work. The words on them were written by God himself. When Joshua heard the boisterous noise of the people shouting below them, he exclaimed to Moses, It sounds like war in the camp. But Moses replied, No, it is not a shout of victory, nor the wailing of defeat. I hear the sound of a celebration. When they came near the camp, Moses saw the calf and the dancing, and he burned with anger. He threw the stone tablets on the ground, smashing them at the foot of the mountain. He took the calf they had made and burned it. Then he ground it into powder, threw it in the water, and forced the people to drink it. Sorry. What? He burned this gold calf. Then he ground it into powder. So gold dust. Then he threw it in the water and made the people drink it. Finally, he turned to Aaron and demanded, What did these people do to you to make you bring such terrible sin upon them?" "Don't get upset, my lord," Aaron replied. "You yourself know how evil these people are. They said to me, 'Make us gods who will lead us.' We don't know what happened to this fellow Moses, who brought us here from the land of Egypt. So I told them, 'Whoever has gold jewelry, take it off.' Then they brought it to me. I simply threw it into the fire and out came this calf." I simply threw all of the gold they had into the fire, and then a calf. Moses saw that Aaron had let the people get completely out of control, much to the amusement of their enemies. So it says here that in the Hebrew, this also might mean that they got completely out of control and mocked anyone who tried to oppose them. So he stood at the entrance to the camp and shouted, "All of you who are on the Lord's side, come here and join me." And all the Levites gathered around him. The Levites? Moses told them, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Each of you, take your swords and go back and forth from one end of the camp to the other. Kill everyone, even your brothers, friends, and neighbors." The Levites obeyed Moses' commands, and about 3,000 people died that day. Then Moses told the Levites, "Today you have ordained yourself for the service of the Lord, for you obeyed him, even though it meant killing your own sons and brothers. Today you have earned a blessing." Moses intercedes for Israel. The next day Moses said to the people, "You have committed a terrible sin, but I will go back up to the Lord on the mountain. Perhaps I will be able to obtain forgiveness for your sin." So Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Oh, what a terrible sin these people have committed. They have made gods of gold for themselves. But now, if you will only forgive their sin, but if not, erase my name from the record you have written." But the Lord replied to Moses, "No, I will erase the name of everyone who has sinned against me. Now go, lead the people to the place I told you about. Look, my angel will lead the way before you, and when I come to call the people to account, I will certainly hold them responsible for their sins." Then the Lord set a great plague upon the people because they had worshipped the calf Aaron made. I guess it's better that 3,000 people died instead of all of them. But all of these people died, the 3,000 died at the hands of their loved ones. I feel like I'm gonna need a little bit more time to digest Exodus 32 because this was a rough one right here. Moses has to alleviate the anger that God is feeling. So he's able to help God's anger subside by reminding him who these people are, what he has done for these people, And then there's a line here that I feel like no one's ever mentioned to me before, which I like is super important. Oh dang, I missed it. 12. Exodus 32 verse 12. It says, "Why let the Egyptians say, their God rescued them with the evil intention of slaughtering them in the mountain and wiping them out from the face of the earth? Turn away from your fierce anger. Change your mind about this terrible disaster you have threatened against your people." Mind you, this is Moses who's doing all this talking. Yeah, in this moment, I'm sure he's not being, like, I don't know if he's being empowered by God to talk to God this way. Look, this is Moses, the guy who was like, oh, I'm not a good speaker. I'm not capable of that. He then grows to the point where he's able to reason with God to appease his anger. He also has to do a lot right here to remind God that these are his people. Like, I think I didn't track it enough, but it was your people who you brought out of Egypt. This whole time, God has been saying, oh, these are my people. I brought them out of Egypt. I will do whatever to bring them out of Egypt, and you will know that I am your Lord. You will know that I have been your God this whole time. The second he's like, look, go back down to the mountain. Your people have they've sinned against me. It's the separation of sin. Like, how quickly those sins separated what was once his people, what once he was proudly proclaiming as, those are my people. I've raised them out of Egypt. He's now like, your people who you brought out. Like, I can't. He has to turn away from them. He immediately turns away from them because of their sin. But not turn away from as in, well, yeah, no, okay, yeah. I guess I gotta keep going. Also, like, there's a moment here where he breaks the commandment tablets that God fingered on the tablets himself, right? He threw Exodus 32:19. When they came near the camp, Moses saw the calf and the dancing, and he burned with anger. He threw the stone tablets on the ground, smashing them at the foot of the mountain. And it's probably like the first thing, the only thing that God has ever like written himself. Okay. And then what is another what else was wild? Like, yo, the gold dust, and then they're forcing them to drink the gold dust. And y'all think y'all get angry? Imagine forcing how many thousands of people to drink gold dust. because they just worshipped the gold dust of what they just worshipped as a god. Like, you want to worship this as a god? You could drink it now. And then called the people Levites. I don't know who the Levites are. He called them. He said, Moses told them, no. So he stood at the entrance of the camp and shouted, "All of you who are on the Lord's side, come here and join me." And all the Levites gathered around them. I don't know who that is. But then he goes and says that, like, all right, here's what the Lord has told me. Each of you take your swords and go back and forth from one end of the camp to the other. Kill everyone, even your brothers, friends, and neighbors. Kill everyone, even your brothers, friends, and neighbors. The Levites obeyed Moses' command, and about 3,000 people died that day. Then Moses told the Levites, "Today you have ordained yourselves for the service of the Lord." I don't know. For you obeyed him even though it meant killing your own sons and brothers. Today you have earned a blessing. But this is mimicking that moment where Abraham's like told he's called to go to the mountain to sacrifice. For me, it's like mimicking that moment where he's called to like go kill his son Isaac, right? Yeah, he's called to go sacrifice Isaac on the altar, and then God's like, or his angel stops him, and he's like, it's great. You've shown great faith here. Here's a lamb, and he gives him that lamb that's caught in the bushes. Except this time, God's angry, so he's not, and they haven't shown any signs of great faith. This is falling upon them because they actually failed to show signs of great faith. And what's the blessing that they've earned in this service to the Lord? This is crazy. Oh my, but okay. All right. So then the next day, Moses said to the people, "You have committed a terrible sin, but I will go back to the Lord." So then the next day, like the day after 3,000 people were just killed. I don't know. And these are people who have been without disease for so long. Now they're facing a plague. And then on top of that, like, can we go back up to the top here where it says something about Aaron, where it's like Aaron's like, "Oh, you know how these people are." Sorry, hold on. When Aaron saw how excited the people were, so he built an altar in front of them, and then announced that tomorrow will be a festival. He also gave him all the instructions of what to do, and it goes down, and Aaron's like, boisterous, blah blah. Finally, he turned to Exodus 32:21. Finally, he turned to Aaron and demanded, "What did these people do to you to make you bring such a terrible sin upon them?" Right? Because all of this happens, like if Aaron had taken a moment and turned to the people and went, "Let's wait for Moses a little longer. Be patient, my people. We have a God. If he reminded them of the commandments, if he did any of these things, right? Aaron was the linchpin here in how much the line was held for these people getting out of hands. So yeah, it was, what have these people done to you to make you bring such sin upon them? And he said, "Don't get so upset, my lord," Aaron replied. "Don't get so upset, my lord." Wow. I want to read this in the original King James because, like, that seems so casual to me. Don't get so upset. Okay. Compare. This is Exodus 32:21 through 25. Yeah, 21 through 25. In the King James it says, "And Moses said unto Aaron, What did these people unto thee, that thou hast brought such great sin upon them? And Aaron said, Let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, Make us gods." Okay. Ooh. There's a new translation. Okay, I'm gonna keep going now, because there's something here. For they said unto me, Make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And I said unto them, Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. Naked. I don't know. That was weird. I don't know. But, like, he's like, yo, calm down. You know what these people are like? And I was just trying to, like, appease the people, right? Like, yo, calm down. This is 32:21. "Don't be upset, my lord," Aaron replied. You yourself know how evil these people are. They said to me, Make us gods, da 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 da. So I told them, okay, da 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 da. I'm only this. It really doesn't matter what was said, what was it. But basically, he said, you know how evil these people are. And they said unto me, Moses was called to be one of the highest priests. He was going to be granted the authority to lead these people, to stand as... No. He's already given that, right? He was... Sorry, I'm blanking on my timeline here. At this point in the story, I think Moses already has his special clothing. Or maybe not. I really can't remember. And not that I can't remember, everything's blurring together right now. So I'm gonna write the note, and then I'm gonna look that up. Maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna look that up. And then at least tomorrow I'll be able to clarify. Like, at this point in the story, who is Aaron at this point? Okay, but here's what I really it's like, damn, what could these people have done to you to help for you to lead them into such great sin? because that is a death of his own kind. That's like, okay, I'm moving on. Exodus 33. The Lord said to Moses, "Get going, you and the people you brought up from the land of Egypt. Go up to the land I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I told them, I will give this land to your descendants, and I will send an angel before you to drive out the Canaanites, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Go up to this land that flows with milk and honey, but I will not travel among you, for you are a stubborn and rebellious people. If I did, I would surely destroy you along the way." When the Lord heard these when the people heard these stern words, they went into mourning and stopped wearing their jewelry and fine clothes. For the Lord had told Moses to tell them, "You are a stubborn and rebellious people. If I were to travel with you for even a moment, I would destroy you. Remove your jewelry and fine clothes while I decide what to do with you." It's the disappointment. It's the disappointment, and like, once you get past the anger of a parent to face the disappointment of that parent, one who loves you so deeply, and you're like, oh, it's the disappointment, man. So from that time that they left Mount Sinai, the Israelites wore no more jewelry or fine clothes. It was Moses' practice to take the tent of meeting and set it up some distance away from the camp. This tent of meeting is different from the tabernacle described in chapters 26 and 36. Whenever Moses went out to the tent of meeting, all the people would get up and stand in the entrances of their own tents. They would all watch Moses until he disappeared inside. As he went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and hover at its entrance while the Lord spoke with Moses. When the people saw the cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, they would stand and bow down in front of their own tents. Inside the tent of meeting, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as one speaks to a friend. Afterward, Moses would return to the camp, but the young man who assisted him, Joshua, son of Nun, would remain behind in the tent of meeting. Oh, so Joshua was able to stay with the God too, and converse as a friend. I love this. Inside the tent of meeting, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face as one speaks to a friend. That's just, I know the conditions aren't as ideal anymore. Feel the disappointment right now. I'm just the emotions. Moses sees the Lord's glory. One day Moses said to the Lord, You've been telling me, take these people up to the promised land, but you haven't told me whom you will send me with. You have told me, I know you by name, and I look favorably on you. If it is true that you look favorably on me, let me know your ways so I may understand you more fully and continue to enjoy your favor. And remember that this nation is your very own people. Once again, he has to remind him. The Lord replied, I will personally go with you, Moses, and I will give you rest. I will personally go with you, Moses, and I will give you rest. Everything will be fine for you. Then Moses said, if you don't personally go with us, don't make us leave this place. How will anyone know that you look favorably on me and on your people, if you don't go with us? For your presence among us sets your people and me apart from all other people on earth. The Lord replied to Moses, I will indeed do what you have asked, for I look favorably on you, and I know you by name. Moses replied, then show me your glorious presence. The Lord replied, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will call out my name, Yahweh, before you. For I will show mercy to anyone I choose, and I will show compassion to anyone I choose. But you may not look directly at my face, for no one may see me and live. Why not? Why can't we see you and live? The Lord continued, look, stand near me on this rock. As my glorious presence passes by, I will hide you in the crevice of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand and let you see me from behind, but my face will not be seen. What? Why? What? Okay, a face so beautiful can't be seen. Sorry. No, like legit. Have you ever seen? My phone just fell, and I just caught it, and that was dope. I know y'all ain't see it, but the way I just did that, thank you. What did I say? Have you ever seen someone you thought was so pretty, you were just kind of mesmerized, like you were just kind of like really entranced by it all, and then you caught yourself like staring a little too hard, so you like gave him a little like, oh, I wasn't, my bad, whatever, however you tried to play it off, maybe you owned up to it, I don't know, but I'm getting that like that sense. And it's so mesmerizing. Or maybe, I wouldn't say that it's mesmerizing in some way. That you like forget to breathe. It legit takes your breath away. The beauty of gods. Oh, wait! Oh, man, sorry. I had next thinking that there would be a point in this where we would hear what Moses thought about seeing the Lord's presence. Dang, I really, they give you no internal thought, insight, really, so I thought that, like, come on, this is the first person to really know, Aaron, this is the first person outside of Eden to really see the glory of the Lord. Ah. Okay. Exodus 34. New Living Translation. Yeah. a new copy of the covenant. Then the Lord told Moses, chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones. I will write on them the same words that were on the tablets you smashed. Be ready in the morning to climb up Mount Sinai and present yourself to me on the top of the mountain. No one else may come with you. In fact, no one is to appear anywhere on the mountain. Do not even let the flocks or herds grazing near the mountain. Do not even let the flocks or herds graze near the mountain. So Moses chiseled out 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. Early in the morning he climbed Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him, and he carried the 2 stone tablets in his hands. Then the Lord came down in a cloud and stood there with him. And he came out, Then the Lord came down in a cloud and stood there with him, and he called out his own name, Yahweh. The Lord passed in front of Moses, calling out, Yahweh, the Lord, the God of compassion and mercy. I am slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. I lavish unfailing love to 1,000 generations. I forgive iniquity, rebellion, and sin, but I do not excuse the guilty. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children and grandchildren. The entire family is affected, even children in the 3rd and 4th generations. Moses immediately threw himself to the ground and worshipped. And he said, O Lord, if it is true that I have found favor with you, then please travel with us. Yes, this is a stubborn and rebellious people, but please forgive our iniquity and our sins. Claim us as your own special possession. The Lord replied, listen, I am making a covenant with you in the presence of all your people. He says it again, all your people. I will perform miracles that have never been performed anywhere in all the earth or in any nation, and all the people around you will see the power of the Lord, the awesome power I will display for you. But listen carefully to everything I command you today. Then I will go ahead of you and drive out the Amorites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be very careful never to make a treaty with the people who live in the land where you are going. If you do, you will follow their evil ways and be trapped. Instead, you must break down their pagan altars, smash their sacred pillars, and cut down their Asherah poles. You must worship no other gods, for the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you. For the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you. You must not make a treaty of any kind with the people living in the land. They lust after their gods, offering sacrifices to them. They will invite you to join them in their sacrificial meals, and you will go with them. Then you will accept their daughters who sacrifice to other gods as wives for your sons, and they will seduce your sons to commit adultery against me by worshiping other gods. You must not make any gods of molten metal for yourselves. You must celebrate the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days. The bread you eat must be made without yeast, just as I commanded you. Celebrate this festival annually at the appointed time in early spring in the month of Abib, for that is the anniversary of your departure from Egypt. The firstborn of every animal belongs to me, including the firstborn males from your herds of cattle and your flocks of sheep and goat. A firstborn donkey may be brought back from the Lord by presenting a lamb or a young goat in its place, but if you do not buy it back, you must break its neck. However, you must buy back every firstborn son. No one may appear before me without an offering. You have 6 days every week for your ordinary work, but on the 7th day you must stop working, even during the season of plowing and harvest. You must celebrate the festival of harvest with the first crop of the wheat harvest, and celebrate the festival of the final harvest at the end of the harvest season. 3 times each year, every man in Israel must appear before the sovereign, the Lord, the God of Israel. I will drive out the other nations ahead of you and expand your territory, so no one will covet and conquer your land while you appear before the Lord your God 3 times each year. You must not offer the blood of my sacrificial offerings together with any baked goods containing yeast, and none of the meat of the Passover sacrifice may be kept over until the next morning. As you harvest your crops, bring the very best of the first harvest to the house of the Lord your God. You must not cook the young goat in its mother's milk. Then the Lord said to Moses, write down all these instructions, for they represent the terms of the covenant I am making with you and with Israel. Moses remained there on the mountain with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. In all that time he ate no bread and drank no water, and the Lord wrote the terms of the covenant, the 10 Commandments, on the stone tablets. What? When Moses came down Mount Sinai carrying the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant, he wasn't aware that his face had become radiant because he had spoken to the Lord. So when Aaron and the people of Israel saw the radiance of Moses' face, they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called out to them and asked Aaron and all the elders of the community to come over, and he talked with them. Then all the people of Israel approached him, and Moses gave them all the instructions the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking with them, he covered his face with a veil. But whenever he went into the tent of meeting to speak with the Lord, he would remove the veil until he came out again. Then he would give the people whatever instructions the Lord had given him, and the people of Israel would see the radiant glow of his face. So he would put this veil over his face until he returned to speak to the Lord. So his radiant glow was too much for the people. Dang! A radiant glow inherited by the Lord. By God's radiant glow. Spending time with the Lord personally. It brings this glow about you. I have to sit with this reading. This reading was. I was expecting it. Like, I knew that the people of Israel did something to separate, to mess up the return to living or walking with the Lord. But I really need to sit with this in prayer and meditation, because like, as much as I can look back and be like, why? What did you do? You knew that you weren't supposed to do this? Or why did you melt down the gold and make the gold calf? You know, like, as much as I want to just be like, why? You idiots. There's information. There's so much information here for me in my now. And I need to be able to get past the, like, wow, I was like, he was right there. Like, you know, wow, you were surrounded by the glory of the Lord, surrounded by his work, by his signs, by his wonders, by his miracles. You were surrounded, bathed in, steeped in, and you still didn't have enough faith to just wait for him. Oh my gosh, there's just so much for me to, like, I just need to sit in it, because I remember last time, I noticed that I just received some breaking information, because last time I was yelling and I was harping on these Israelites. God was like, hey, remember when you did the same thing? Man, it wasn't the same in the exact terms, but like, I'm waiting. I know, Lord, you're gonna give me a lesson here, because I felt it coming. I feel it coming. Because you can just be surrounded by the sights and like, I feel like it was so obvious, you know, like, all of the signs, all of the wonders, all of the miracles that they had gone through. I feel like it's so obvious, but I'm reading it. I'm not experiencing it to them. I'm not experiencing it as them. So I can't be like, oh, you know, like, clearly it was with you. Why didn't you just wait? Like, I can't do that. Not in good conscience. Because, look, I feel like we go through day to day and there are miracles happening, and we just aren't seeing them because our eyes don't know how to focus on them, and like, it's not what we see anymore. It's not what we do. Like, who knows what kind of freedoms are being fought for our sake. Like, it's already been fought for. And yet, constantly, we don't know what angels are guiding us. We don't know which pillars, like that cloud of pillar and fire, we don't know what's guiding us. Sometimes we tell it's intuition, or I felt like this, I felt like that, but like, I feel like the language is off. Because we don't know for sure what is guiding us. So now I'm sitting here worried about how this reading is about to read me, because I know it's coming. I know. But I'm here for it. I receive it. I'm open. I receive it. Lord, if it is of you, I surrender to it. I'm here for it. I receive it. There's a lesson to be learned. Let me learn it. Let me learn it now before I am led into rebellion against you. Father God, I ask that you will just keep it gentle. Keep it gentle for me, because I'm bracing myself for your work to be done within me. And in the bracing, I can feel that might not look like surrender. So I'm bracing myself to learn to surrender to this process. There are lessons to be gathered here. There are lessons to be learned. This reading was thick with complicated, emotional societal, people, just human tendencies. And as I shuffled through it, as I tried to read through it, it didn't quite hit with all of the clarity. But I knew the impatience that leads to sin was being highlighted. The stubbornness that leads to sin was being highlighted. The disappointment of how you were calling your people to such great heights for them to fall to the enemy. Father God, I do not wish to be a person who is being called to you by you, who's being separated for you by you, levitated for you by you, who sins against you. I don't want to be that person. I do not want to be that person. And I refuse wholeheartedly, solely, I refuse to be an Aaron, a person who is capable of stopping great sin from happening and just encourages it anyway. Father God, please work in and work through me. I surrender to it. If it is of you, I surrender to it. If it is of my Father God, I surrender to it. Ooh, be gentle. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Ooh, there was so much in there. Yeah, there was so much in there. I just don't. I know I'm about to be red. Yeah. I guess that's all, loves. Like, have a good night. Get some good rest. Really steep in what you've learned today, or what this reading highlighted to you today. Because I know this is one of those things that's gonna like, hey, you see? It's a little eye-opening. Bye. Wait. I think I still have some work to do. I think I still have to read Psalms 28. Yeah, we didn't read Psalms yet. My bad. It's in the Exodus pages. I just know. I know what's coming. I'm prepared for the lesson that these pages are going to teach me. Like, come on. I'm just prepared. The Psalm of David. I pray to you, O Lord, my rock. Do not turn a deaf ear to me, for if you are silent, I might as well give up and die. Listen to my prayer for mercy as I cry out to you for help, as I lift my hands towards your holy sanctuary. Do not drag me away with the wicked, for those who do evil, those who speak friendly words to their neighbors while planning evil in their hearts, give them the punishment they so richly deserve. Measure it out in proportion to their wickedness. Pay them back for all their evil deeds. Give them a taste of what they have done to others. They care nothing for what the Lord has done or for what his hands have made. So he will tear them down and they will never be rebuilt. Praise the Lord. For he has heard my cry for mercy. The Lord is my strength and shield. I trust him with all my heart. He helps me, and my heart is filled with joy. I burst out in songs of thanksgiving. The Lord gives his people strength. He is a safe fortress for his anointed king. Save your people. Bless Israel, your special possession. Lead them like a shepherd and carry them in your arms forever. That somehow was the perfect psalm for the end of today's reading. Okay, now, night. Have a good day, evening, whatever. Have a good rest until we see each other for the next chapter. Goodbye.